Tackling last week, kicking goals this.
Side bottom to Degoe. Degoe inside 50. No! Beautiful tackle. He's paid the free and the advantage here with Zorko. Oscar McInerney, an unlikely front and centre. Gallop to give it go. And goal. Geez, been terrific. He's kicked a couple.
And there is one straight kick separating them. Make it maybe more than that. That's the best thing you've ever seen. Will Ashcroft produces a miracle.
Memory over the top. Oh no! Elliott's got to mark it. Front on contact, nothing.
Collingwood have got to kick 3 goals and change and hold the Lions goalless, but Gallop in the middle of the pack.
There it is. Brisbane into another grand final.
The Brisbane Lions Fancast is back, and for each and every year we have done this show, the Brisbane Lions have, weirdly enough, made a grand final. We find ourselves back at the big dance against the Cats, a team we will play for now the 4th time in 2025. I know we're all feeling nervous, but excited. People, as we record right now, it's 7:30 at night. People are getting the money taken out of their accounts from Ticket Tech. Tickets are being assigned. Will we have our dual Brownlow medalist captain in the team? Who knows? We have got one hell of a prelim final to have a chat about, and I cannot wait to get into it. But before we do, a massive thank you to everyone that has listened, not just this year, but the last couple of years, because, Patrick, we are at officially episode 100 of the Brisbane Lions Fancast.
Who would have thunk it?
Insert
100.
applause here.
Are you actually going to put some post-production applause in, or what?
Maybe, we'll see. But honestly, everyone that's listened along the way, engaged with us in any sort of form, whether it's social media, YouTube, the Discord channel, head along to the website, bought the T-shirts, sent us some money through our tip jar, and a massive shout out to Adam, who did just that across the week. Thank you very much. It is all so much appreciated, and to make it to 100 episodes is really, really cool, really, really humbling. So it makes it all worth it. So a massive shout out to everyone that is listening to us right now, whether it's on Spotify or Apple or YouTube or any of that sort of stuff. And make sure you like, subscribe, follow, rate, tell your friends, all that sort of gear. Let's talk about some football.
I just say, I wish you'd told me. I would have made a banner and run through the banner with like 100. Although it's probably, is it my 99th episode?
It is your 99th, yes.
And also, are you including the collaboration?
No, I'm not.
Okay, good. Because if you
and there was also like a little minute and a half podcast I put out to say, hey, get your free stickers from Chris Communications. And
Does
also massive shout out to Chris Communications and hoponbrewtours.com.au for sponsoring the show and getting us this far. No, I did not count that one as well.
Well, good, because I think a 90-second podcast is, poor return. So, excellent.
Yes.
So
here we are.
Hopefully I'll have a really good 100th next week. Let's put it that way.
Hey, where do you want to start with this one? Because there's plenty to chat about. So the team went in unchanged, which we all sort of forecast. There will be at least one change for the grand final, I would imagine. Looking at the way Jared Berry went down and took an hour to get off the field.
That umpire stopping the game for cramp thing really worked, didn't it?
It did.
So I'll address the small elephant in the room first. I broke my shaver, so that's why I'm like accidentally growing a beard, and I can't quite afford to get a new one right at the moment. So, sorry, I guess. Sorry, Mum. But I'm now going to be a bearded freak for the next week or two at least. So,
hey, I tell you what, this time next week you could be a bearded freak with some culturally inappropriate cornrows, my friend. Don't think people haven't forgot about that.
Do I have to like shave and have the mustache?
No, I don't think you have to go the full hog. Just the cornrows. That was the deal.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, well, hopefully here's hoping, because he's not going to not be in the team. So, and let's say I hope for my 100th I am rocking some cornrows.
Oh boy, 3 grand finals in a row against the Cats, a team that just a couple of weeks ago absolutely tore us up. Since then, though, smacked the Suns, and a pretty convincing job against the Pies on the weekend. It was very similar to the game in round 20 at the MCG. Good first quarter, terrible second quarter, really good back half, and it was almost a carbon copy. Their team was much different to the team that we faced back then, but we got the job done in some pretty exhilarating style, and the midfield again was on fire.
I just watched the replay. So for anyone knowing, I was working stupidly yesterday, so I actually left work early to go and watch the game. I was like, nah, this shop is shutting early because I've got the football to go to. So, yep. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for that. And then I got home and immediately put on the replay, and someone provided the link to the ABC commentary, so I didn't have to deal with what I would describe as one of the all-time horror lineups of commentary, being Dwayne Russell, Howie, Jack Riewoldt, and David King. That makes me want to stab several knives in my face. So, Corbin Middlemass, you're my hero. ABC was great. So I have literally just finished watching the replay. And we'll come to the second quarter. Not as bad on review, I'll say.
Really? God, yeah. In real time, that was... Anything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. And we did not help ourselves either.
Yeah, we'll come to that. So thankfully, no changes heading into the game, because I think we just... we can't catch a break, can we?
No. And at this stage, Josh Dunkley left in a moon boot, and Kai Lohmann was sporting a little bit of compression on his calf as well. I don't think it's too much to worry about, and probably more likely than not precautionary. But obviously, Jared Berry is the big one to worry about, and there is a big question about the availability of Lachie Neale that we will get into. But first quarter. Great start. Collingwood obviously put the first goal on the board thanks to Mason Cox and some Dane Zorko shithousery that he's copped a $3,200 fine for.
So what do you think about that? Because Ben Keys did it and he got a lesser fine. As a bespectacled individual, how did you feel watching that?
It's obviously a pretty dog thing to do. Like, this guy's wearing goggles because he's got a serious condition that's happened in a game of football, and to rake them off his face is pretty Dane Zorko, isn't it?
Yes, but I think it's also similarly pretty Mason Cox to have it happen, because let's put it out there. If there's one thing you can do to that guy, it's that. Like, if he's getting into a physical altercation on a football field, being the only person wearing sports goggles, they're coming off, and it's happened twice now. So, it was funny. It was stupid. Zorko obviously had a kind of a Jekyll and Hyde sort of a game.
Oof, did he what?
Yes. It was there was part of me going, oh my God. But, so Collingwood started pretty well. They got some decent territory. Their pressure was really good. And we sort of weathered that storm a little bit. Our defense was really good. Gardner was excellent. Harris was excellent.
Let's just take a second to talk about Harris Andrews' finals campaign, by the way. He's putting together some very good... the back half of his year, but his finals campaign, it has been just about flawless.
It has, and it's really shown the quality that he has as a player, because I spoke about it, whether it was last week or the week before, that his game against Geelong was pretty much every bit as good as Darcy Moore's. We didn't win. So he got no votes, which is, understandable. It's a flaw in the system of the trophy. The coaches vote one. But I think for him I think he had a better season last year on the whole. He held that defense together. This year, I think he's not been quite as consistent, particularly early on in the year. He had some horrible games.
He did. He equally had some really good games though as well. They just weren't quite strung together. And then the back 10 weeks Like, since Payne went out, basically, he just stepped right up.
It's almost like he's gone back to basics in a way to play football, where he's playing man on man, and he's also diffusing. It's like he's just been reset into playing how he was, I'd say, 4 or 5 years ago, where it wasn't quite a foregone conclusion that he would just be this like roamer in the back line going, all right, well, he's going to play on no one, because that sort of was never really when he was at his best, I don't think. Because he can do both. So he's really, I think, I don't think there was any doubt that he should have been All-Australian, but if anyone had any doubt, this final series really put that to bed. Similarly, I'd say with McCluggage and his 2 performances, not that anyone has any doubt, because no one in this podcast listening ambiance would ever think that. So Harris Andrews is fantastic, and we love him.
It is, probably one of the most pleasing aspects of this game was the fact that, like Craig McRae said straight off the bat, yep, Steel Side Bottom's going to go do a job on Hugh McCluggage. And we saw what happened to him in the qualifying final against O'Sheen Mullen. And you think to yourself, oh, how's he gonna cope with this again? Side Bottom clearly couldn't keep up with him, and whether Pendlebury going off sort of had an effect on that whole system, who knows? But then Crisp went to him, and he couldn't keep up with him either. Clug was just absolutely huge. Him and Washi are also putting together some pretty good Septembers.
Yeah, I think we were quite worried about Side Bottom and what he could do in kind of a similar way to Dempsey for Geelong, in that kind of sitting on the wing and then drifting forward. And to see him go and try and do a diffusing job, like, I don't know about you, but it's not, Steel Side Bottom doesn't really strike me as a diffusing type player. Am I wrong? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen him play that role before. That's not to say he hasn't done it. I just haven't sort of paid attention to Collingwood. But I think he could. Like, he's got the footy brain to do it. But
it's like, use the footy brain as a weapon going the other way. Like, that's clearly what his strength that he brings is.
Oh, and he's gotten us before. Like, he was probably one of their best on when we played them earlier at the G, and he was pretty good against us at the Gabba. And obviously we know what he did in the grand final as well a couple of years ago. So he's been pretty, like, historically pretty good against us.
So do you recall who I said we should tag in this game? Yeah, who we should put effort into? Because it's a pretty funny answer if we think about it.
No, I don't actually. It was Josh Dacos, wasn't it?
No, it was Pendlebury. And nailed that one by having him not playing. So good job, team. They really, really hit it out of the park with that one, because I just thought it would be interesting to put physical heat on Pendlebury, and to stop his kind of in and under distribution organisation thing. So when he went out with the little calf, holy moly, I knew we were kind of a bit on. It was looking good. So
yeah, you do think to yourself, wow, there's 400 and however many games of experience just gone, and plenty of finals experience, and they're replacing him with a bloke that not too many people outside of Collingwood supporters would have heard about, and you think, we've definitely got an advantage here, so we need to make the most of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost put Pendlebury's organisation in a finals game at that 4-goal mark, because you can imagine there would be elements. He doesn't really leave that centre corridor area. He just patrols either side, and he's a big presence on the field. So that was a massive moment, and it was probably harped on a little bit too much, but hindsight, it didn't. We had a big out too. So, I mean, that first goal, who hit back with the Dunkley absolutely drilled a set shot for our first. You said the other week that he'd been working with some set shot
on his goal kicking,
coaching.
Yeah, because I can't remember who the game was, but he just munged it. I think it was a game against Hawthorn. Yeah, it was a game against Hawthorn when no one could kick a goal, but Dunkley was particularly bad. He went to work like straight after it and was, doing, outside stuff with the guys at Enhanced Football, and you saw it when he came against the Cats. He didn't get a set shot, but he did kick that goal sort of off the one step, almost backwards in the last quarter, and then flushed it on the weekend. It
was really good. It kind of eased the nerves, and we were definitely I suppose, the aggressor in the game at that point in time. A couple more that followed were set shots, I believe. So we might have had a...
Yep. Logan was in there as well, I think.
Yeah, Logan Morris with the snap and a... Sorry, I'll bring the game up on my iPad so that I can actually know what's going on. Brain's sort of in a bit overload at this point in time. But I think a big turning point was Calamachi running down Jordan De Goey.
Oh, De Goey, yeah.
Massive. And then to follow it up back the other way with the assist to Ty Gallop, who just rolled it in over the top of everybody, was fantastic. So, to kick the next four... We also
had the Bailey goal with the holding the ball against Nakos as well.
It's good to see Nick Dacos get pinged for a few holding the balls, I've got to say. Particularly the last act of his season was getting pinged for holding the ball. How good. The little things. The little things are the important ones. So, I mean, we led going into quarter time, and I think we're pretty good value for it. Collingwood had quite a lot of territory. They played quite well in the first quarter. Defense stood up pretty well. We had chances as well, and then the second quarter was just kind of like pretty weird. You messaged me and you were not best pleased at the time, were you?
I sent you a message and said I can't give votes for this quarter because, my God, like if it wasn't Collingwood just having all the momentum, it was us giving away stupid free kicks, double 50-meter penalties, other 50-meter penalties, just poor decision making. And as you said, Zorko's first half was absolutely garbage. I think he was, what did they say? He was the 44th rated player on the ground in the first half, and then his second half he was the highest rated player, so he obviously made up for it. But jeez, that second quarter was just pass.
Yeah, I mean, Zorko was directly responsible for their first 4 goals. He did the block, he had the turnover, he got pushed in the back and turned the ball over again, and it was just like, and gave away a free kick. I thought that there was an element of Collingwood's efficiency. They kicked 6 straight, and they were not super high percentage chances as well. So it was like, it's a little bit of a not quite a reflection. We actually had quite a bit of momentum early on in the quarter. Charlie Cameron kicked it behind that he 3 years ago would have kicked every day of the week. Hopefully we saw a little bit of psychic nonsense happen to him later on in the game.
How good was that?
We'll come to it. Everyone's seen the footage and it's good. But I thought Collingwood were pretty handily looked after in that quarter. There's been a lot of complaints about a certain incident later on in the game, but Nick Dacos asked for a 50-meter penalty. He asked for a double 50-meter penalty. They gave it to him. Levi got absolutely headlocked around, and then Schultz goes down like a sack of shit. It's like, cool. I guess we're in for this right at this moment. And I'm really, really impressed with our guys' ability to just not drop the head when stuff like that happens. Because we've seen it, like, even as late as last season, there were times where a few decisions would go against us and we would lose our head and struggle to kind of get a foothold back in the game. And although it probably required the long break came at a good time.
Oh, yeah.
But fuck me, it was frustrating.
Yeah. Yes.
And then to add insult or injury to insult, spin that one, Jared Berry's shoulder comes out, which made me sad.
Yeah, and look, it's in all likeliness that he will not be playing next week. 2 dislocations in the space of 4 or 5 weeks is no bueno. So, maybe, but very unlikely. So, I think that does lean into the does Lachie Neale play decision a little bit more, because I think that decision is a little bit harder if Bez is fine and we come away from that game with no injuries.
Yeah, that's what Fagan said in his press conference on Friday morning, where because I've been pretty. I thought Lachie Neale being like, I'm like training and whatever. I thought it was kind of a bit like, oh yeah, cool, like cool, keeping involved. But I didn't realise that he was actually doing like hard running and stuff like that. So it's kind of only in retrospect. And then to hear what Fagan said on Friday morning was like, if he's fit, it depends on how fit he is comparative to the other players. So it's sort of the thing where if you're choosing between Jared Berry, who's got a slipped shoulder, you've got a slightly twingy calf, and you've got Connor McKenna, who hasn't played much football, which one actually is the least risk? So cross that bridge when we get there. But I mean, I'll eat my words and say I think Lachie Neale's playing for sure.
I think he's playing,
and I think he played from the start. And I think, it'll be good. It'll be good.
Does Scott Pendlebury doing his calf in the first 5 minutes of that game weigh on the mind of Chris Fagan at all?
No.
No.
No is a full sentence answer sometimes. No, I don't think so. And I think enough hubbub has happened to suggest that Pendlebury actually did that in the warm-up as well.
Hearing that quite a bit.
Which to me is one of the dumbest things that could possibly have happened, because you've just, not hamstrung your team, you've calf-strung your team. Because you have another sub. Jeremy Howe certainly didn't look particularly good either, so... how that might have changed things. A lot of footy. Yeah. So I don't know. Lachie Neale wasn't great against the Cats in the qualifying final, but he's a big game player. So, and like, to put that in perspective, I honestly don't think we can play really any worse than we did in the qualifying final, and I also don't think Geelong can play any better than what they played. So, riddle me that. But halftime really happened at the right time. And I was watching the Channel 7 coverage, and they were pretty quick to write us off. They were sort of saying we'd have to do something quite miraculous to get back in the game, which I thought was a little bit odd. I thought, people were not super happy with the Foxtel commentary or the Fox Footy commentary. I thought the 7 commentary was much more balanced on the whole. But I think they just sort of bought into the momentum of Collingwood without sort of reading between the lines of the actualities of how the game was. Kicking 6 straight. In another game, you kick 3-3. Charlie Cameron kicks that, we kick 3 behind. Stuff we've heard before and plenty of times. But, it was 13 points, and it was us leading in the space of about 4 minutes in the third quarter.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that 13 points disappeared very, very quickly with another Bailey goal just off a forward 50 stoppage, and then Will Ashcroft with a monster from 50.
He loves that spot. Loves that spot.
He does. And like, it always just comes in like at the last moment as well.
It's one of the nice things to watch, I gotta say.
It is. He's put together a really good finals series as well, as I said. And then obviously, how good was Ty Gallup? We'll have to have a chat about him, because you said before the Cats game, mark it down, he's going to kick his first goal. Didn't happen. He kicked one against the Suns, and then since he did kick that goal, like, everyone sort of said, after he kicked that goal, you could see the confidence just like rise exponentially, and his last quarter in that Suns game was good. This was a great performance from Ty Gallup, and look, we're going to be missing Eric Hipwood for the first half of next year. He might find it hard to work his way into a forward line with Logan Morris, Ty Gallup, and Oscar Allen.
It adds a little bit of pressure, and I think we were saying that,
and Sam Draper.
Drape. We were saying that a little bit earlier on in the season. Well, the latter part of the season, when we sort of were looking at the idea of it being an Oscar Allen, that sort of a thing, where Hipwood's got we love what he brings to the team, but I think work rate alone, when you've got other players that can also bring work rate, and another preseason under Gallup, like, he's clearly a very willing student of football. He doesn't really make bad decisions. He finds himself at the right point, whether it's at the drop of the ball or whether it's at the the highest point, as they say, his highest point, I should say. That's what it is, not its highest point. The ball's highest point is where fucking Wilmot kicks it. Yeah. So, like, it's going to put selection pressure on the forward line. I think that's good. I mean, I'm an advocate for not grinding your players into the ground throughout a season, because and we haven't had that luxury due to this, that, and the other. So I'm happy that there will be selection pressure, but it also means that if someone's having a bad time, that you can put someone else in, because not everyone fires all the time and people go through little funks. And I think if everyone's on the same page about it and go, oh, well, sometimes I'll need a bit of help, sometimes this, then you can navigate it without it being like you're dropped and you're out of favour. I don't think that's really a thing unless you're Dev Rob.
Yeah, I guess so. Look, we're obviously getting way too ahead of ourselves talking about forward line structures for next year and all that sort of carry on. Obviously, second half of this game, absolutely huge. Collingwood sort of had their moments in the third quarter. Jamie Elliott was brilliant, and Stas did struggle with him. What I will say about both Stas and Archie, who, look, let's be honest, they're out the door at the end of the season.
Do you think Jamie Elliott's out the door?
Maybe, yeah.
Because he's in the same position as them, so it's like, is it that much of a foregone conclusion? Who knows? I think so. I think so. But what I will say about those two, and especially if we win another flag, obviously go with our blessing, like you've done, and the fact that they are still giving themselves to the team, playing their role and playing it well. And obviously, Stars had his moments on the weekend where Jamie Elliott got the better of him, but by and large, they are doing their bit for the team, and you can tell that they're giving it 100%, which is all you can really ask for. I think when you're playing against a good player, sometimes you just get done. It's the reality of it. Like there are some great, albeit a slight tangent, some great soccer compilations of like the greatest players getting made to look absolutely stupid by other great players, and it's people that you would know getting like nutmegged and kicked around, and they look stupid. And it's just the reality of when you're playing in big games, in big tournaments, or in big finals against other good players. Elliot will sit on your head. He's done it to plenty of people. Yes. He's one of the best lead and mark. Him and Gunston can lead and mark like nobody else. So good job for them. We got to close those lanes. So
it was a great set shot too.
I got to say, I'm really happy that Mychek didn't do shit in this game, because I have nightmares about that guy just like kicking random snaps from like the pocket, and you're like, what is this guy doing? Like, why does he always do this against us? These low percentage garbage. So, Elliot really kind of kept him in it at times. They were in all sorts of trouble. Collingwood were. They couldn't live with us, and it was like a ravenousness that we had. McCluggage kicked a goal that was a bit jubes, but it's fine. Good.
Yeah, I think Gallup's first goal as well was probably a little bit dubious as well. If you look at the way Oscar got rid of the ball, or I don't know if it was Oscar that got rid of the, like there was if the whistle had blown and they had a called holding the ball, you probably would have said, yeah, all right, fair enough.
So that was Gallup's second, and on ABC they crossed to Ray Chamberlain, and he's like, I don't think Oscar had possession of the ball. It was bumbling around, and he just sort of but and the amount of volleyball that Collingwood were playing in that game.
Oh my god, there was
cowardly volleyball that take possession of the ball and cop the hit. They didn't want the heat, so that was a good sign for me earlier on. So, but yeah, Cam Rayner also emerged in the third quarter, which was quite nice, having a couple of kicks.
It's becoming more prevalent than not that if he has a quiet first quarter or first half, then he's going to do something in the second. He's going to have a say about how this game's going to unfold.
Yeah, and his goals happened at really like quite good times, because they sort of happened after there was a miss from Ashcroft, DeGoey missed, and then his second goal, which was Ashcroft's second goal, the volley, that happened after Rayner and Lohman both missed identical set shots, and also side bottom. I think he kicked it out on the full.
Yeah.
Although that might have been in the last quarter, and I might just be losing my mind here. But we scored at really important times to kind of just continue our momentum and to continue to squeeze and cause them kind of issues. So it was almost like the perfect timing for a lot of things in this game, and thoroughly enjoyed.
Now, obviously, a big talking point is the Starcevic spoil on Elliott in the last quarter that may or may not have got Collingwood back to within 6 points. But as you sort of touched on that, yes, they would have got to within 6 points. It didn't feel like it, though. Like, I felt like, by and large, the momentum with us, we were playing the better footy, and it was going to take something a bit more than that to actually get them over the line. Yeah, I mean, yes, you never know what's going to happen. Does he kick the goal? Does he not kick the goal? Do they get on a run? Does that lift him? Who knows? But the overwhelming consensus seems to be that is a free kick for front-on contact. You have the floor.
He doesn't make any contact with him front-on at all.
I think he body to body. Yep.
No, there's no body contact at all. None. I've watched it a dozen times. I was very bored at work today. And it looks that way in real time, but it's just not. He has eyes on the ball. He punches the ball. There's a little bit of arm contact, but if you read the rules by definition, you are allowed to make incidental contact with the arms. You're not allowed to chop the arms without the intention of trying to mark the ball. So, maybe there needs to be a bit of a change of interpretation, but I'm pretty sure Bailey Dale got away with one that was quite similar to that early on in the season, and everyone called it the spoil of the year. This one, in my opinion, is miles better because it's in a final and Bailey Dale's not playing finals, so what he did was entirely inconsequential. And this is a guy with a concussion history who could be or could have been playing in his last game for the team going, no, I'm not going to let this happen. More to the point, why did Membry pass?
I think he has to. If you look at that, Jamie Elliott is in a mile of space. You have to kick that to your teammate who's in a better position to kick a goal.
Well, it didn't work, did it?
No, it didn't work, but I think you take that option 10 times out of 10.
So I heard that the Fox team, Jack Riewoldt in particular, was quite culpable in harping on about that decision for more or less the remainder of the game. ABC nipped it in the bud pretty quickly. I mean, everyone in first viewing thought it was a free kick. Ray said if he doesn't make contact, he said if he didn't make contact with the body and he didn't chop the arms and he's got eyes on the ball, it's not a free kick. So he was said that, and they all took that and went, cool, that's good. John Ralph suggesting that you have to turn and face the ball after the game was hilarious because, to my knowledge, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And Brownie really challenged him on it, so that was good. Yep. Probably not enough for my liking. I would have preferred a bit more. No, shut up. John Ralph had enough. But I want to give credit to the umpire who made the correct decision based on what everyone thought was the wrong decision. Because it was the correct decision.
Let's find out over the next 24 hours because I'm sure people are going to be expecting a statement of some description from the AFL saying, no, we concede that was the wrong call.
Did we get an apology for the advantage that wasn't paid in the grand final? That was a game that was actually under a goal in the last 30 seconds?
Yeah, they did come out and say, yeah, it was the wrong call. It matters for not, obviously.
Because I would say if you looked at it in its giant spectrum, Collingwood would be far on the better end of a lot of those things. I can think of 4 off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Being the GWS prelim, the 2 Crows games, and that North Melbourne 50-metre penalty that wasn't paid. So
that's true.
It's 4.
Look, like I said, it matters for not. It was 5 goals in the end, and it was weird. Did you watch Craig McRae's press conference?
I saw a bit of it just to sort of see what the kind of feeling around it was, and I don't know. Like, I think the word magnanimous was used, and humble. To me, it feels a bit like you're being told what you want to hear by a pathological liar that you know.
It was weird that a journalist asked a question, and I can't remember what the question was. And then he goes, "Oh, I thought you were going to ask me about that free kick." And I was like, "Okay, well, I guess what do you think about the free kick?" And then he goes into his spiel about the free kick or non-free kick or whatever. It was a bit strange the way he addressed it, and yeah, by and large,
it feels very rehearsed.
Oh, it was. Clearly was.
I don't like it. It for all of their, I guess, inadequacies, Sam Mitchell, I very much enjoyed him being asked, have you got a tip for the flag? And him saying, I hope they all lose. That's great. That's actual honesty.
But honestly, what are you doing as a journalist asking a question to a coach that's just been knocked out? Oh, so who do you think's going to win? That's like...
Rocks for brains. Rocks, that's... Yeah. I'm not even dumb enough to ask that question. No, not going to happen. I haven't had the chance to watch the press conferences just because it's been very... So I'm sure Fagan will be humble in victory and Craig McRae will be weird in defeat. But, here we are. So, who polished the game off? Senor Brooks.
Who polished it off? Zorko kicked the last goal from 50, which was brilliant. I think the Kai Lohmann goal was okay. We're home here.
Oh, the Gallup one was pretty good too.
The Gallup one was obviously awesome, but the Kai Lohmann off the deck into push-ups was that's when you know, okay, they're going to have to really pull something out here to catch us now. But yeah, Zorko with the goal at the end, and that's when Fagan knew, and he is a stressed, gum-chewing, pacing up and down type operator. When he's letting loose, it's done.
Yeah, it can't. The game felt as comfortable as the result, but not throughout the entirety of the game, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, well deserved in the end, and good for them. Really good for them.
All right, some votes. Votes were there's plenty to go around this week, and like I said,
how many different?
Two was hard.
I've got my votes written on a bit of receipt paper.
I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players getting votes this week.
Jeez, I've got 7, and I thought that was a lot.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
All right, the votes, thanks to hopondbrewtours.com.au. Book yourself a half or a full day tour against the best breweries in Queensland. All right, my votes are as follows. Hugh McCluggage gets 3. Darcy Gardner gets 2. And then singles to Cal Archie, Jared Berry, Darcy Wilmot, Will Ashcroft, Cam Rayner, Ty Gallup, and Zach Bailey.
It's pretty good. The 2 for Gardner?
Yeah. He was great. He was really
good.
Fantastic. And he probably could have had 3, if I'm honest, because he was probably one of our best on.
So I've got 2 for Bailey, 2 for McCluggage, 2 for Gardner, 2 for Harris, and 2 for Will Ashcroft.
Wow.
And then 1 for Rayner and 1 for Gallup.
And I have failed to give Harris Andrews a vote, which is that's genuinely upsetting.
That's it happens. I'm sure people that probably deserve Brownlow medal votes won't get them on Monday. So, yeah,
nine players, and I can't squeeze in Harris Andrews, who I said is having the best final series.
Did you know that? But whilst you wanted to do the editorial on his final series, or was this
no,
purely
I didn't
by
actually.
accident?
Yeah, it was purely by accident. But and you know what? I could probably sub out Jared Berry here and give one to Inya, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm sorry. I'm gonna
kick him in the shoulder while he's down.
I'm going to renege on my Jared Berry vote, and I'm going to give it to Harris Andrews because he deserves it, and I don't feel bad about it. I do a little bit, obviously.
I feel bad about it, and I'm not even the one that did anything.
Oh my good. All right. So There will be a change. We've both decided that it's going to be Lachie Neale in, Jared Berry out. As we record this at 8:10 on a Sunday evening, Kane Corns is calling it potentially the most reckless decision he's ever seen.
What, putting Lachie Neale in?
Putting Lachie Neale in.
Yeah, maybe. But I think we're in a bit more of a different situation where our 23rd player, we're really at our wits' end with it.
Yep.
You know, I mean, funnily enough, I forgot McKenna existed until someone mentioned that might be a good idea. Now that might be a good idea, but after that, then you're looking at Will McLaughlin or Tunstall or Dev Robertson, and it's like, are these guys really kind of what you want to have in the team going to a final? Like, I love Reville as a sub. Love him as a sub. So I would want whoever comes in for Berry to play and Reville to still be the sub. By the way, Reville was pretty good.
He was good.
He was pretty good. There were a few moments where he had the ball in contest and made efforts to hold the ball in to create a stoppage, and I was like, yeah, good boy. Good job, man. You've learned from 2 weeks ago. So, is it a reckless decision? If it's medically fine, cool. Give him a fitness test. If it blows up, it blows up. If he gets through it, you good.
So some things to, I guess, think about when, and thankfully it's not our decision to make it. I guess it's just, stuff for us to ponder here on the show. And I think you either make the call as early as you possibly can, so it just doesn't dominate the headlines and all the thinking across the week, and you can just sort of get it done and dusted. Infamously, Max Holmes, 2022, they ruled him out and said, no, we're not taking the risk. Callum Mills last year as well, captain, he's fit to play. They said, no. On the flip side, though, they did select Logan McDonald, who was going in with a dicky ankle, and we saw how that went. He got subbed off after doing piss all. So,
but he's also Logan McDonald. Was he really going to break? Is he really going to break that game apart if he had 2 good ankles? I don't think so.
No, obviously not. But hindsight's obviously going to be 2020, regardless.
I could say there are probably plenty of tales of injured players playing in a final when it's not really been known, playing well, and no fuss being made about it. We can look even further. Nigel Lappin with punctured lung. He was pretty bloody good in 2003.
I mean, there's no way that as soon as this season wraps up, Hugh McCluggage isn't going to go in for some sort of cleanup on his knee because he's been carrying some sort of meat or something. There'll be plenty of them. Lachie Neale last year with the foot, Hitwood with the OP, Berry shoulder, all that sort of gear. It'll be another one. And obviously, if it blows up in our face, he's, first contest, he goes for a sprint effort and his calf just explodes, then that is the risk you take. And I think, but everything that we heard last night, he's playing.
You're also afforded that with the sub rule while it's there. Take advantage of it while you've got it. Give it the chance, and it's the sort of thing where you go, well, you know me, I'm ever the optimist, but I think we go into this game as underdogs, and I think we've got to throw everything at this game to try and win the premiership. It will be an astounding achievement if we win the premiership.
I think.
So why not?
It's an astounding achievement regardless. Absolutely.
But it would be, I said it a few weeks ago, if we somehow managed to win this premiership, it would be one of the greatest premiership culminations, I think, in history. Given the injury list, the personnel stuff, the fact that we're missing like 7 players from the grand final winning, or 8, I think, if you include Joe. Like, that's unbelievable without really
and the fixture,
regenerating.
Which is widely regarded as like the toughest fixture that has ever existed.
Unless you're Port Adelaide, apparently, but who gives a shit about them? So, yes, like the fixture, the players missing, and again, I've said it before, the players that weren't able to return from the year previous, I think is as big a thing. We're really, really stretched. So, balls to the walls, throw everything at it. I don't care. Like, if it blows up, it blows up. And I don't think it's the sort of thing where, worst case scenario, if we get rolled, it's not a situation where our team is going to crumble. The team will understand the context, and it will be framed in a way that the context will be easy to digest for those players to move into next season. And I think there's no reason whatsoever why we don't really hit round 0 next year as premiership favourites. Like, we have to be. Look at what we've done with this.
And we'll bring more in. We'll obviously lose a couple, but we'll bring more in, and I think our list will largely be stronger. And hopefully it's not long before Ainsworth comes back into the team as well. Anyway, once again, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves there.
But for a team that has previously, we've struggled with the mental, not so much mental fragility, but just a little bit that of going, well, are they really willing to kind of grit in? And I don't have any of those reservations at all. No.
No, it's been a couple of years since we've had to worry about that.
It's probably that Melbourne MCG 1 point game, right? Where I completely lost my mind. Were we podcasting then? I can't remember.
I think so, yeah, we were, yeah.
Oh, that was... Oh, didn't like that. That must have been the first year, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 23. The Cats have got their own big injury that they have to deal with as well, and a gentleman that was pretty key in the way that they performed in a qualifying final. So Tom Stewart is out with concussion, and obviously the big discussion around, the pre-finals bye versus the pre-grand final bye, that obviously comes into question because this is the scenario that people point at when debating that topic of, well, what happens? Someone's going to miss out on a grand final because they get concussed in a prelim. Here we are, and it is one of their most important players. Now, I think they cover for him relatively easily. I think Reece Stanley comes back in and Blitzarves goes down back. Like, that's what happens. And I think Blitzarves is good enough to cover that without necessarily being as good as Tom Stewart, but definitely serviceable enough.
Do you remember what I said in the fallout of the Geelong Lions qualifying final? Where I know I've said a lot of things, so that's a really, really dumb question to ask you. But I said that it's amazing how you can have your number one, in inverted commas, number one ruckman go out of the team and it improve your team.
Yeah.
They're now bringing that number one ruckman in and taking out one of their top 3 best players. So they're definitely, I know structurally they can make it happen, but I think that their magnitude's less because of that, because they're playing a player that is, I think, less impactful around the ground, and they're losing their main thrust, and they're kind of their thing that they have that other teams don't is Tom Stewart. A player like that is unbelievable. So, the way that he plays is very direct.
Yep.
So that's massive. Jack Henry also turned his ankle pretty, in a way that I think is more alarming than the Dunkley or the Lohman one.
Yeah, he'll be sore. He'll be sore this week for sure. But he still managed to play the game out and play pretty well. But he will be sore this week for sure.
Yeah, so some sore boys. I mean, kind of what I thought or what I hoped would happen, which was Hawthorn would really bring it up to Geelong and would give them a contest. I think Adelaide would have been blown out. So 2 pretty good prelims, I got to say. What was your take on the Friday night game?
Yeah, God, it was hot. And Hawthorn looked really good for that first quarter and a half. And then obviously the Cats did what the Cats do. They are looking good. And as you said, I think we go in the underdogs for this game because, well, recent history is burned into everyone's brain. But we would have taken away a lot from that game against the Cats at the MCG. And I think we will give a better showing. We're not going to let Ollie Dempsey off the chain, hopefully, and whether that's a job for Levi or Jazzy Fletcher, or if Archie moves at the wing, is O'Shane Mullen going to go back to McCluggage? Is Mark O'Connor going to go back to Cam Rayner? Like that whole story, like Cam Rayner and Mark O'Connor, that is going to be, all eyes are going to be on that.
I think that O'Shane Mullen and O'Shane Mullen and Rayner or Connor and Rayner. That's one where
Rayner.
So yeah, Rayner needs to take him where he doesn't want to go, which in that situation
they're in the square, yeah,
straight in the middle, Take him in the middle.
In the middle.
And, yeah, I reckon, because if he's sitting at full forward, he didn't do much last game. I reckon take him through the middle and make him work.
Okay, I would probably have it the other way, and I think that's sort of what did happen. He's taken down into the square 1-on-1. And
so hold on, which one's which? I'm getting these two.
So yeah, I know it's tough. Both Irish taggers. So Mullen went to McCluggage and O'Connor went to Rayner. Isn't
one of them a defender?
Well, O'Connor doesn't he just goes wherever the opponent goes because he went toe to toe with Lachie Neale for years and went wherever he went. So he's not necessarily a defender. He's just a go with that guy.
Who's their young rising star dude?
Holmes?
No. What? No, he looks like a 40-year-old science teacher. He looks like he's like a Darcy Fort's younger brother or something.
Or the defender?
Yeah.
Connor O'Sullivan.
Is he also Irish?
No, I don't think so.
He sounds like the most Irish of all. I mean,
Connor O'Sullivan obviously does, yeah, but no, I don't believe so.
Okay, so I think I'm losing my marbles a bit here because I sort of thought one of them was him, and I'm like, well, just take the defender into centre bounce and take the one that is a centre bounce guy to the square. So I don't know. Yeah, whatever. They'll learn a lot from it, and they'll do something about it. I'm sure they will. So,
and you'd have to think Clark isn't going to get stamped out of that game in the same way that he did because from all reports he took that very, very personally and beat himself up quite badly after that. And he obviously hasn't let it happen to him the last two games, and he's going to want to not let it happen again.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, they've got a lot of negators, so I think it's probably the sort of situation of just trying to back in what we're doing. And yeah, I think like all of the games, there tend to be one in the middle. And like a lot of games, that's the thing. We were dynamite on stoppage against Collingwood, which is we trade. Do we want to be good on turnover? Do we want to be good on stoppage? I don't think they can get it quite as right as they did with the way they were kind of playing the ball, and they, we talked about it. They kind of did what we did to them down in Geelong,
yep.
And it's a really hard thing to kind of analyze. I would love to have Barry to have him keep an eye on Dempsey, but that's not the way that it worked. But just remember, I suppose Geelong are a bit like a spider. They're more scared of us than we actually are of them. That's kind of one of the weird things. Geelong are terrified of the Lions.
Sure.
They think we're their hoodoo team. So they're not super confident. Hopefully Starcevic can do a pretty good job. Hopefully your man, Ryan Lester, can have a bit of a...
well, that's the question. After what happened last week, do you give Froggy first shot at Jez Cameron again, or do you go with what works? Yeah,
okay. Absolutely. I reckon start with that. We know that the change-up can be made. Yep. Harris to Shannon Neal and Starcevic to Danger. It depends on whether Dangerfield kind of floats through the midfield.
I reckon he's in that first centre bounce and he is throwing his body around. The way he played on Friday, my goodness, it's just those players that are built for big games, built for September. He is 100% one of those. Now, can he produce that effort again? Maybe. It's going to be difficult, but maybe, yeah. And if that's the case, if he is, spending a majority of his time in the middle, then that's a job for Josh Dunkley, I believe. And then, once he rolls forward, then that's a Starce or a Froggy, depending on how those other matchups are working out across the night.
And I think Fletcher's probably still the one to kind of go with Grind Myers, if he comes in at stoppage and the way they want to finagle it. I mean, they could pull a curveball. They could bring in Ollie Henry, and they could play Ollie Henry as a forward, another forward, try and do a Framptonius.
They're not going to do that. I don't think they'll be doing that.
He's
played so little footy this year that they're not going to bring him in for a grand final.
I also heard some people saying that maybe Jed Buse would be another one, but I mean, if Jed Buse came in, you're licking your lips if you're Charlie Cameron, rekindle that old flame. So, but no, I'm with you. I think Stanley comes in and they kind of reshuffle it from there. But, looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be a very tough game. A very tough game. I think we can win, but yeah, like I said, that qualifying final is still fresh in everyone's minds. And to go on what you're saying, that they're more afraid of us, I'm sure they're wary, but I think they'll definitely get a lot of confidence on what they did last time we played. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, we seem to be this like organic being that keeps just shifting every time we play them. It's like, oh, who's there? Well, Oscar's there this time, and this person's gonna, So there's a little bit of changing happening. I mean, we didn't even mention Oscar, but I mean, what a story that is. His little exchange with Sammy Marshall on the bench was really heartwarming, and just almost. Sam Marshall's funny. He almost has this like game face that he has a lot of difficulty kind of dropping. Even after the Gold Coast game, when he'd been subbed off in that game, but he looked like pissed off as he's like, the siren, and he's going to, shake hands with the other players or whatever. And it was nice to see Oscar to get him to crack that little bit, because I think Marshall seems to be the kind of person to put a lot of pressure on himself, and has high expectations. And I think sometimes that can be a little bit to your detriment if you're, our team are kind of the kings of not always keeping it super serious. They have that ability to kind of, take the moment, like the Charlie Cameron moment where he sits there and, breathes out and says, I love this. And you knew when that happened. You just, as unreliable as he's been for the better part of 2 years, you just knew. So there's really good mentors around the club, and I just hope these young fellas can really get up for it again.
Well, I mean, they've certainly proven their worth so far in this final series. Like, to think that we've got 8 players under 22, 3 teenagers, and still made it this far is absolutely ridiculous. And each week I keep telling myself, it's all going to catch up, and we're going to come up against a team that's just a little bit more hardened, a little bit more classy, a little bit more mature, and that's what the Cats are. They're built tough. They run hard. They're a team that their whole focus as an organisation is to play finals footy every year and go as deep as they possibly can and perform on the big stage. So, once again, that thought is there of it's might just be a bridge too far, but this team has proven me wrong plenty of times, and I've got, I shouldn't doubt them, because it's 3 grand finals in a row against all the odds. So let's go get it.
They've just got to keep pushing. It's only one more week. It's only one more week, and then you can let whatever the hell you want catch up to you after that. Just be ready for preseason next year, because we want it again. So, I'm looking forward to it. It feels like a bonus. Like it feels like we're in a situation that was so unlikely, and I mean, they know how to win. They just know how to win when it really matters. So, good on them.
It's funny, because I'm sitting here at the moment saying, and as I said to you before, it's like, no matter what happens next week, this, the fact that we played finals again after 7 years and coming off a premiership, shorter pre-seasons, the injuries, the fixture, to play finals again when the last couple of premiers haven't been able to do it, to win a final, to make a prelim, to win a prelim, to make it back to the grand final. Like, it's all so outstanding, but I know, if I'm sitting here this time next week and we've lost, I will be disappointed. Of course I will be. And I will probably find it hard to find that perspective again. But
don't worry, I'll be here to do that for you. I always rise to the milestone occasions, so I'll be right.
But so good, so good, and it's really something to look forward to. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel that long ago where we were absolutely bottom of the barrel. Kids leaving. Drafting was just, couldn't land a decent pick, couldn't attract anyone as a trade target or free agent or any of that sort of stuff unless they were absolutely desperate. And it's just people like Tom Bell or Ryan Bastanak or, Brett Maloney was probably actually a good one, but it's
Jack Frost.
It's easy to forget those times when you're sort of in the thick of it, but they could just be, around the corner again, I suppose,
I don't think that that's necessarily the case anymore. And one thing that I tend to parrot a lot to individuals who may think that, the Lions as a Queensland team get these concessions and get the father and sons and whatever. And it's like, no, the way that you sell a club to the most important thing is to sell it to the players and the kind of the core group you've got is sell an idea. Sell the idea that how are you going to improve the culture? How are you going to improve the style of football that you play? How are you going to improve the environment and the feeling around the club? And how are you going to engage with fans and get them involved because they will make you play better? And then from then, you can look at it and go, okay, so we've done that. How can we then convince people outward that that is a good thing? And that happens organically through that. And then the kind of the kitsch point, which, we've heard about, we had the things up on the wall, beat Hawthorn at the MCG and beat this and win a game here and do this and that. It sounds like kooky and like a bit almost lame. But if you set those mile markers and say, this is what we're trying to achieve, you get to a point where people start to believe. We finished bottom of the table and Charlie Cameron came to our club. Yeah,
it's crazy.
And the only club I can really see that has that is probably where Richmond are at. And I've talked about it before, where they're in a situation where their coach and their players know that they're growing together and that they'll make mistakes. But I can see them landing like a pretty decent free agent at some point in time over the next couple of years. Yeah, and I can see them growing like in a way that it's not a toxic environment. And I know that they've had pretty recent success and they've been a good team, but like, God, the middling teams are just so horrible. There's nothing good feeling coming out of clubs like Essendon or Carlton or, even St Kilda. I know they've got their war chest and, the vibes are high because of Wanganeen Miller but I don't know. They don't seem a happy club. Look at what Hawthorn have done. They're a happy club.
It's in the song, mate.
They're an annoying club, but they're a happy together club, and you can tell, and that's why people want to go there. It's not because the academies are good or whatever. I saw someone say, "Oh, you just stick an academy somewhere and you get access to the best picks," and it's like, yeah, in 40 years, have fun with that.
Yeah,
like good luck to you then.
Look, we could get into this whole academy stuff if we want to, but I don't think there's much point in it at this point. People have got their views, and people are going to stick to them regardless.
Have we got any questions of coherency or coherent questions?
Not anything major. There is one, and it is probably off-field stuff. And this comes from Discord, where all the questions are coming through at the moment. Feel free to join the Discord channel at our links are available through the website, brisbanelionsfancast.com.au. It's not really time to discuss it, but are we thinking we need to throw everything at Zach Bailey to stay? Goal-kicking midfielders like him are pretty rare, and he's showing he's already a ready-made Lockie replacement. I don't know if he's necessarily a Lockie replacement. They play different styles of games, yes, but yes, he is a goal-kicking forward, mid, wing, wherever you want him, and he is an All-Australian. Essendon's clearly throwing a bunch of money at him, and Adelaide are coming at him pretty hard as well. So him and Will Ashcroft are the big ones out of contract at the end of next year. You'd have to think Will Ashcroft is going to stick around, but Zach Bailey maybe not so much. And, if we do win another flag this year, maybe that sort of helps make the decision for someone like Zach Bailey to go, yeah, I've done my bit here and I've achieved all I can achieve, and maybe it's time to get some money.
I suppose the amount of money that they get paid is so like mystical from my point of view. It's like,
yes.
I'm like, what's the difference between like $400,000 and $600,000? I suppose a bigger boat. If you'd said back in 2017, that one of Cam Rayner or Bailey would end up going to Essendon for massive money later on in their career, I would have 100% said Cam Rayner.
Yeah.
Based on his family ties to Essendon.
Yeah, of course.
I
don't think he'll go to Essendon. If he's going anywhere, it'll probably be Adelaide if they're throwing the same cash at him, and Cal Archie will more than likely be there as well.
I think that Zach Bailey's never going to be the purest footballer. He's always going to be slightly rough about the way he plays, which doesn't mean that he's not like bonkers good at times. Do we want to throw everything at him? I don't think so. I think we're in a pretty weird point in time. There's stuff happening with Danzig, the TV production group. DAZN?
Yes, that's the one. Well done.
DAZN. I remembered it. I used my cognitive faculties. We don't know where the collective bargaining agreement is going to be in a few years. And it could bite a few clubs with these massive contracts. In corporate world, the big number just keeps going up. And the big number has been going up since 2008, when the big number went very down. And I think the big number will go very down. I need the tinfoil hat. Give me the tinfoil hat. The big number might be coming down in the not too distant future. So that could affect footy players' salaries. So,
yeah. I think we just need to, they've been pretty open about the fact that we want to make our club long-term sustainable in the same way that Geelong and Sydney have, and we want to be up there each and every year, constantly playing finals, a club that has a good culture and on-field success, instead of, the dips that we've seen, and it's hard to do. It is hard to do, and there's a reason why only, a couple of clubs have been able to do it. I think you just need to, when you're offering contracts, is just be, transparent with them. It's yep, we can't offer you the same money that another club may offer you, because that's not our goal as an organisation. That's not what we want to do. We want the long-term success, and we want you to be a part of that. So yes, we want you to be part of this team. We can offer you $600,000 over 4 or 5 years to do that, and know that everyone on that team is also pushing that goal as their priority as well for the success of it. That's how you have to approach it. And it'll be up to the individual, because, you're only a footballer for, if you're lucky, if you're very lucky, you're playing it for 20, 21 years like Scott Pendlebury, but more often than not, you've got a 10-year window as a very good career. You might as well make money and set yourself up for life if you can. So, and that comes down to the individual, and you can't really begrudge people for wanting to do that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a lucky position as a club to be able to sell success as a bonus to your playing football. Yeah.
It's not like St Kilda that has to throw $2 million here and 1.8 here and another, paying 750 or 800 grand for Lecalier to get to your club, and whatever they're going to be throwing at others to get across.
Well, they pay Josh Battle that much money.
They're
give
not
that money to Josh Battle.
They're not in the position to say, hey, yeah, come here and win flags. They're saying, hey, come here, hopefully help make us better, and we're going to give you this big brown bag full of cash. And that's what they've got to do. Clubs like North have got to do that as well, if they can. Essendon, so on and so forth. And why I say that I don't think he'll go to Essendon is because Sam Draper and potentially Jordan Ridley, still unlikely at this point, are going to come to the club next year, when Zach Bailey will still be on the books. And, I'm sure they will talk, and Zach Bailey will say, well, what's it like there? And they'll tell him, don't fucking go there. There's a reason everyone wants to go out of there.
I can't see the Jordan Ridley thing happening at this point in time. I just don't, I can see Tom Doedee going off the list, because I think that's probably dead money at this point in time, which is a bit of a shame. It was an experiment. It didn't work. I can see him coming off the list. If they're allowed to do that, I don't know. But I wouldn't be renegotiating Zach Bailey or trading him this coming up window. I would be holding and then looking at the free agency compensation pick, because if he goes somewhere good, we're getting pick 1. Pick 2. I mean, he's better than Ben McKay. You out of your mind?
It's all going to depend on the offers and all the secret herbs and spices, as Damien Barrett says about the free agency compensation.
His compensation pick should be a first-round pick for the next 5 years. It should be. Like, if Ben McKay is pick 2, that guy can't even... Yeah, I'm not going to go there. McKay brothers, God. Anything else?
No, I think that'll just about wrap things up. It has been a fantastic week. The girls got a win today as well, 25 odd points against the Dogs. I do need to give this more time, but there is unfortunately some big finals to be talking about, and the girls will get their time in the sun, I promise. But another good performance against a team that they should have beaten. So they are still sort of sitting around about the top 8. So. They're doing what they have to do. They've got a couple of winnable games coming up at the moment. So hopefully they can force their way inside that 8 and stick around for finals again.
Excellent stuff. Brownlow this week. We have... I mean, technically everyone's in the conversation for the Brownlow. We have... who do you think will poll highest out of our blokes? Hugh?
Klug.
Yeah.
I think
Neil will... bit of a smoky.
Yeah, I think Neil will poll votes because that's what he does. But I think Hugh will easily poll highest for us. Zorko will probably get a few as well along the way. Will Ashcroft will probably poll a couple, but yeah.
I really hope one of either your man Dawson or Anderson picks it up.
It's going to be tough. I think both Rowell and Anderson are in with a good shot, but I think they're going to pinch votes from each other, which is going to work in favour of someone like Bailey Smith or Nick Dacos.
Yeah, I suppose he's just hoping that Dangerfield and Steel Sidebottom had an absolutely phenomenal first half of the season, so he could pinch a lot of votes. Are there really two more kind of unlikable individuals than Bailey Smith and Nick Dacos at this point in time? Like, it's don't make for good viewing. Worth noting, Will Ashcroft in the conversation for goal of the year.
Yeah, with that goal against the Tigers, which was such a forgettable game of football.
And I think probably more importantly, I don't know if you caught it, but Harris Andrews is in the running for the Jim Steins Award this year.
Yeah, I did say that. Yeah, which is great.
Did we talk about this a couple of weeks ago? I can't remember.
No, I don't believe so.
No, I feel relatively strongly about this because I think the other people, you've got Callan Ward, who I think will probably win because it's Callan Ward, and I think you got Tom Liberatore. But I think Harris is doing work with young males to kind of try and help with the domestic violence issue. And I think whilst none of the 3 nominations are bad causes, I think that this in the social place that we're in at the moment is really important.
Yeah,
I think it's very important because unfortunately kids are always going to be sick, and unfortunately other things are going to be the case, but domestic violence doesn't actually have to be a thing. So it is something that can be actually properly alleviated from society. So yeah, I hope that it gets some level of recognition because I think it's important. So anyway.
Yeah, well said.
I didn't want to... I also do care about sick kids. Sorry. I'm really sorry.
All right, well, there you go. Now that Pat's cleared that up. Thank you so much again, everyone. Episode 100 for our show. It means the world. And for whatever level of support you've given us, whether you've listened, every other week or, once every now and then, or if you listen each and every week. Yeah. Subscribe, all that sort of stuff. We do very much appreciate it. And hopefully this time next week, we will be sitting here back to back and Corn Road Patrick on your screens.
If anyone in Geelong knows anyone that can corn row me, hit me up. It's going to be awkward.
That's going to be some sort of request. Now, having said that, yes, we should quickly touch on before we leave tonight. You are in the depths of Geelong at the moment. That's where you're living, without doxing you on the show.
That is correct. The bowels of Geelong.
How are you going to go about your fandom of the Brisbane Lions this week in enemy territory?
I mean, this shirt's pretty smelly because I wore it to work today. I breached uniform policy.
Well, there we go. There's our answer.
I didn't get mugged, so that's a good start. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know, because I moved here after the finals last year. I don't really know what sort of happens here. I guess we'll just sort of have to wait and see. I think you and I, we both decided no grand final tickets this year. So,
well, that was a decision that was taken out of my hands. But at the same time, I was probably happy to not spend so much money this year. I have organised grand final tickets, and I've organised with one of our listeners that I will be getting them to him because he wants to go, and I'm in a position where I can't but can get tickets. So I'm very happy that I can do that.
It's very, very generous of you. No, I mean, I'm not the biggest lover of going to football live. I'm not a cheering.
A series
fan,
of cars just run off the road.
I'm not the most vocal of fan, and I think that my seat will be better taken by another Lions fan. So that's my way of justifying it to myself. Also, I've run out of guitars to sell, so money's been tight. So I'm going to be happy with my charcuterie board. Watching the game on 720p, I guess is what Channel 7 has to offer. So yeah. Plus, I saw them win last year. Can it really get any better than that? So it took me 3 goes, and I finally saw them win. So, because I was there, Gandalf, in 2004. I don't know if anyone else was. I missed the 3 because I was a bit young. The rest of the family went to those, and I went to 2004 like a sucker. So, been there, done that. I'm happy with the cash in my pocket that I don't have, because it's not like I have that kind of cash to burn anyway. So if anyone knows what happens in Geelong, I know we've got a couple of lurkers that are Geelong based. Let me know if there's stuff that happens. If there's, Amazonian poison dart blowpipes I can use at the open training at Geelong, can find a way.
Brilliant. Well, it's going to be a hell of a week. We've got plenty to look forward to. Brownlow, the parade, everything that goes along with Grand Final week. And share your plans with us and let us know what you're doing for Grand Final day. It's going to be great.